I've seen some of your initial reaction online to this decision by the president that there will be no COVID-related help to the American people at all before the election. But I wanted to ask you specifically in the context of your district, because your district has been so hard hit. What do you think the impact of this decision will be?
Well, I think New York's 14th congressional district is really a microcosm for the entire country. And we're also a bellwether. Whenever the country is about to go through something incredibly traumatic and severe, it often hits my district first. We saw this with COVID and the pandemic. Our district was hit heaviest and hardest first before the waves started echoing across the nation in terms of COVID cases spiking. And we're already starting to see warning signs of the severe economic and health fallout that is to come. We are on the brink of an eviction crisis, a mass eviction crisis here in our district, but also across the country. 30 to 40 million people are at risk of being evicted because the president has decided to walk away from every working person in this country. Now, that's before we even get to mortgages. It's before we get to unemployment extension. It's before we get to a second stimulus check. In addition, just as we're entering the fall, we are at risk of a second spike. And what we are seeing here in New York City, which is a city that has some of the strictest COVID guidelines and some of the highest rates of mask-wearing adherence in the country, we are still starting to experience areas where there's kind of a second spike. 9 zip codes in New York City are at risk of being shut down totally or partially due to a secondary fall wave. Now, if we decide, and if the president and the GOP follow through with walking away from COVID relief, we are staring down the barrel at one of the largest mass eviction crises in the history of this country since the Great Depression. That's what we're looking at. We're looking at a potential second wave that could be catastrophic. We are looking at the potential of hunger in the United States exploding on a level that we have never seen since the Great Depression. And all of it is preventable. All of it. All we need to do is authorize a second stimulus check. We need to make sure that we get state and local funding so that municipal governments can stay above water at least through the end of the year. We need to make sure that we are funding large-scale testing and tracing programs, and we need to make sure that we're really developing a vaccine responsibly and not pushing one out for the sake of an election.
One of the things that